Back on Inside Tennessee to recap other highlights from the election. Again, we haven't had a chance to talk to this because the Olympics have been on. But again, we just had the candidate who helped flip one commission seat. Instead of 9-2 in favor of Republicans, it's now 8-3. Does that matter, Don?
A little, but not much. Typically, county commission has been largely bipartisan. The things that they vote on, well, sometimes they can reflect party views or party lines, not usually. I don't care if we have 9 Democrats. We're not going to get significant tax increases. We're not going to get one in the county, particularly when we have a Republican county mayor. But it will bring a different view. But I think it's fair to say, and I think we're going to segue into it, what happened over in 9 might balance out the fact that we picked up a Democrat, on county commission in 4, which used to be Republican.
Andy Fox maintains a Republican seat in that district. But Susan, for our viewers who don't know Andy Fox, he's been outspoken for a number of years and will no doubt likely make his voice heard on commission. I'm
confident that he will. He's certainly conservative. There were 3 folks running in that race, and probably why he won, to be honest. But yeah, I think you'll see conservative principles and values espoused on county commission. But I agree with Don. I think generally county commission is it's fairly nonpartisan, I think, when it comes to local issues. People are voting what they feel is right for the county and just generally do not get into state and federal issues as a rule. Every once in a while you'll hear a little something about vouchers or something.
Glenn Jacobs, for example, the mayor, he tends to He governs sort of like interesting, I don't want to call it even moderate, but a libertarian.
He's a libertarian.
But he cares about the parks, he cares about the greenways, right. And that's more than you could say than Mayor Burchett, for example, who that was not one of his focuses. And so there's not a lot of social services, feel-good things previously, but it still goes on now with county commission, and it's better. And I think that's the difference. The question is, will Andy Fox blow that up? Because when you say conservative, he's hard. He is Trump hard right, and that's a different perspective.
I wonder if we won't see them sort of steer more into the culture war type stuff.
I'm fearful of that, because particularly with the ties with the school board and book bannings and vouchers, we're in for a little bit of a bumpy time. But
we have seen some of that ideological separation on school board. John, that was recently changed. It hasn't been long since school board has now been mandated by the state to be partisan, and we are seeing some changes there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really did not want that to happen. They're like, leave us alone. We don't want to go down that road. Well, we're down that road, so guess what? It is going to become increasingly partisan. This school board, I don't know about the brand new one that we're about to have starting September 1, but the past school board had a lot of 4-4s, and like somebody wouldn't show up, so they had issues die. Mm-hmm. And they also did have some very distinct margins where you had sort of Democrats on one side and Republicans on another. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. I think it'll probably still be the same. The curious thing always to me has been the members who don't show up, so they don't have enough votes, so they can't do anything on a particular issue.
We always talk about how the city tends to vote Democrat and the county votes Republican, and we've seen in recent elections, going back to Presidents Obama, Hillary Clinton won Knoxville, we saw Joe Biden win Knoxville. Are there any indicators from the election we just had about what we may see in November from either the city or the county?
Who would you like to start with?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there are, and I mentioned that even prior to this election. And although, for example, when you look at the vote totals, the Democrats are still energized. They were energized. Obviously, they wanted to come out in the primary and support Gloria, who was in a contested race for the Senate against Marsha Blackburn. It's a tough road for her to go, but she's making ground, and we are seeing a trend that's trending blue, and I think it's stretching into the county. We've seen that in 4, where now Shane won a district that was half city, half county.
Saw it in 9 because it wasn't a big separation.
Yeah, and so I do think that it's trending towards blue. It is, make no mistake, I'm not saying the county is blue yet, but I'm saying the pendulum swings, as we always say.
Susan, what's your take on that? Any indicators?
Well, I can go back and look at what Glenn Jacobs got in the last election, 55%, I think, and it was 60 in the 60s before. I've been saying this to Republican leadership in this county for some time. Guys, they're coming for the county. You've got to get back to precinct organizations and doing the things that get your, you win an election by turning your voters out, right? That's just as basic as it can possibly be. And I think we've gotten away from that in the past few years.
And the national issues are really bleeding down to local when you deal with things like abortion and guns.
We're going to get your take, Susan, on the GOP convention. You were there. We know our friend Dennis Francis will be in Chicago for the upcoming Democratic convention. And who else will be there? Mayor India Kincannon. What she told John North earlier this week. We'll have that when we come back.